Hello and welcome to another edition of the Cory Sauter Show here on Studio One. I'm Kelly Loft, Athletic Communications Director at Southwest Minnesota State University. And again this week we'll talk Mustang football with the head coach of the Mustangs, Cory Sauter, as we look back at last week's Mustang loss at Augustana College, and then we'll preview this upcoming week's game versus Wayne State College. It's homecoming, Egg Bowl, promises to be a festive weekend at the university, and the Mustangs and the Wildcats will cap off the weekend with that ball game on Saturday night. But we'll talk about that game later on in the show. But joining us, as always, is the head coach of the Mustangs, Cory Sauter, and SMSU coming off a tough loss to Augustana College last Saturday in Sioux Falls, losing 53-21. A game the Mustangs led midway through the first quarter, 14-7. Only to see Augustana come back with 20 unanswered points in the to end the first half to take a 27-14 lead, and then had a big third quarter, and the Mustangs were not able to rally back, and they lose to one of the top teams in the conference, 53-21. And Coach, you had a couple of days now to check things out. Obviously, you're very disappointed. We always talk about there's so much work put in by you and your staff and the players that any kind of loss, if it's a tough, close one or a blowout, you're never happy with those type of things, and I'm sure Saturday night was tough because the Vikings played extremely well, and you guys probably didn't play obviously at the best of your abilities. But overall, your thoughts of that game on Saturday?
Well, you kind of hit it on the head with the fact that a loss is a loss, whether you lose by 4 or 40. It really doesn't matter. We're 2-2 right now, and so we've got to regroup. I told our kids after the game, really, I thought that the scoreboard really wasn't a reflection of how we played. I thought we were much better than that. What that indicated, there was a few plays that kind of made that score a little more inflated than what it needed to be. But all in all, I thought the effort was there again. But Augie is really playing well right now, and they're going to be one of the best teams in our conference, and they should be a team that will do very well in the playoffs as well.
Yeah, they're a team that is 4-0. They're in the top 25, and they've already beaten Bemidji State this year. They shut them out. They beat St. Cloud earlier, and now beat SMSU 53-21. And you talk about some of those big plays, and you got to give them credit. They've got some very good skilled players, one of the best wide receivers in the conference, and a quarterback that was very shifty as well. But you look at right off the top, you get a special teams excellent job by Mike Wank, punt down to the 1-yard line, and you give them credit. They made a play. We had a defender slip. It's just tough luck, and one of the better receivers, and they get a 99-yard touchdown and put you right behind the 8 ball right away. But you guys did come back and make a game of it.
Yeah, our opening drive on offense, we were kind of able to get to midfield, and it was nice to at least get a first down and get a few plays run. I think we had 6 plays on that first drive, and then with that punt, really getting them inside the 1-yard line was critical. And I talk about a kick in the gut. One play, 14 seconds, and before you know it, it's 7-0. And it's one of those moments where everyone's kind of looking at each other. Okay, we've got to regroup here in a hurry because this could get ugly if we don't. And our guys responded. We were able to score, make some big plays, and we were able to hang in there for a while, but we just didn't have enough ability to really hang with them for a full game.
Yeah, that's the one question I have is after you get down with that big long touchdown by Augustana, what is the mindset on the sideline? You just kind of gather the offense and say, let's just move on now, and it's just one score, no big deal, but more you're shocked there for a few seconds on the big play, and that momentum is on the Augustana side. But give your guys credit, like I was saying, you came back and got that tying touchdown, which really got the momentum back on the Mustangs sideline.
Yeah, and after they scored so quickly, offensively our mindset is just to match that. Whether they score in 14 seconds or 14 minutes, it really doesn't matter to us. They scored, and we have to respond. And it was nice to see our guys do that because we had a nice drive. We made big plays when we had to. They were playing some man coverage on the outside, and we were able to take advantage of some of those situations. And it was also nice to see our true freshman Sean Younger make a play and for his first collegiate touchdown.
Yeah, it was a nice that second drive. You picked up a 3rd and long. You got at least almost all the yardage back. And you made a gutsy call. You went 4th down on the minus side of the 50, and Radican dove across, had plenty of room to spare,
Exactly.
just got across, and we took advantage of it, and it was a great pass, Radican to Younger. And talk about that play. It was just a double move and a little pump fake by Ryan, and Younger beat his man straight up, and we're tied up at 7.
Yeah, kind of going into that, kind of backtracking, we made the big third down play to get us within inches, and just the way I felt the game was going, I didn't want to get behind anymore, and so we went ahead and went for it. We thought we could get half a foot, and we did get about 7 inches. So we did get it, and then like you said, Sean Younger was matched up on the outside. We tried to complete that same pass earlier, and all we did is really double moved it, and he stuttered it, and the corner bit on it, and Ryan made a perfect throw, and Sean made the catch and finished off with a touchdown.
Yeah, it was the first career touchdown for Younger, a 44-yard touchdown reception. That tied the game at 7 with just over 9 minutes to go. And the defense was done a great job this year in takeaways and enforcing turnovers in their first 4 games. And Levi Reef strips the ball, Joe Stupka recovers, and you take over in Augustana territory, and right off the bat you come back and take the lead on another long pass, this time a 38-yard strike from Radican to Lester Lewis, and those two really seem to be having a very good rapport this year, because they're making some plays, and for Lewis, his 5th touchdown of the season.
Yeah, and it was basically a 2-play drive, and the nice thing is the defense did give us a short field, and really offensively, we've been doing a nice job in the red zone as far as near the 30-yard line and out. And the toughest part for us offensively is just being able to get to that point. Once we do get there, we usually do pretty well in the red zone. But yeah, Lester made a nice play. Ryan was able to slide in the pocket, and you'll see it in the highlights later in the show. But put it up in an area where Lester could go up and jump for it, and that's kind of where he excels. And there was a little bit of pressure on the play, but the nice thing is we were still able to get it off and capitalize.
Yeah, Mustangs 8 of 10 in the red zone this season with 8 touchdowns, and as you mentioned, Lewis with the touchdown reception, that was his 4th of the season. He did get one later in the game from Tyler Pashon. So Lester leads the team in receptions and touchdown receptions, and you take that 14-7 lead, and you've got some momentum. You give Augustana credit; they went down, tied the ball game, and we figured it'd probably be a high-scoring game. You guys would have to match them offensively, and we just could not put together consistent enough drives. I think over the next 8 possessions, we had a handful of first downs, and then Augustana, on the other hand, they made some big third down conversions. One to the tight end on a play that gave them the lead for good, and that was probably the storyline there in that second quarter, was just not being able to move the football.
Yeah, and especially when you have an Augie team that has been doing very well on offense. The best defense against that is to stay on the football, your own offense, and we weren't able to do that. We had some third and shorts that we didn't convert, and that was probably the most disappointing thing. Is it wasn't always a third and long situation where we were in. We were in some manageable third down situations, and so we just got to get better at that area. We will get better at that area. But you got to give Augie credit. They have so many good athletes, so much team speed, and I know defensively, their linebackers, their safeties, across the board, were just taking great angles at our ball carriers, and really making it difficult for us to get any extra yardage after the catch or after the run.
Well, the tough situation for the Mustangs is you did get some third and short situations, but just were not able to convert. Mustangs 4 of 16 on third down conversion, and in the last 3 games, that's really been a troubled spot. Is it more, not executing on the third down, or is it the first and second down plays that are putting you in tough situations? Because you look at this upcoming week's opponent, Wayne State, they're converting at a 50% clip in their first 4 games, and they're 3-1. I'm sure there's a correlation there to just getting make it third and short very manageable, which we did get in some situations this past Saturday.
Right, and this week we were a little bit better in that area, but like you said, it all comes to that first and second down and making sure we're getting 3 to 4 yards of crack, and that way it's going to be 3rd and 3, and that way we can pass, we can throw, we can run, we can screen, we can play action, you can do a lot of different things. It really opens up your potential, and that's what makes it tough on a defense. Now, we've been in some third and long situations throughout the year, and that's really what's hurt us more than anything. And we just got to get better. And part of it too is being able to run the football a little bit more efficiently. And they were doing some things as far as up front slanting and bringing a couple guys off to off one side, made our run game a little bit harder to execute. So like I said, you got to give them credit with that, and we've just got to find a way to be much more efficient as far as what we do on first and second down.
The Mustangs in that second quarter fell behind. We're not able to regroup. And you talk about being able to run the football, or you don't want to be one-dimensional. Unfortunately, when you fall behind by a couple of scores, 3 or 4 touchdowns, you have to start throwing the football, and it's just so difficult when the defense knows that you're going to pass the football, and then you have to pretty much throw out your game plan out the window.
Yeah, you really do. And there was one point in the game where I think we threw it 20 times in a row, and that's not normal. But give our offensive line credit, because they improved quite a bit from the previous week. They were able to give Ryan some time. Now, we were able to do some things as far as 3-step, some screens, a little more 7-man protection, trying to give him a little bit more time in the pocket. And for the most part, I thought our line did a much better job. Our tackles especially. Cox had probably his best day protecting. He did give up 1 sack, and that was really his only bad play of the day.
And there was a few plays now on the defensive side of the football. Obviously, you gave up some points. Some of that was set up by some turnovers, and Augustana was able to take advantage of that. All right, Coach, we'll now take a look at some of the highlights again from this Mustang ball game last Saturday in Sioux Falls. The Mustangs fall 53-21 to the Vikings. SMSU now 2-2 overall and 1-2 in the conference, while Augustana improves to 4-0 in conference, or 4-0 overall and 3-0 in conference play. And we start off with our first quarter highlights, and we start on special teams. We'll talk about Mike Wenk later on, but you had 4 punts over 50 yards, and this is a great one, and it stopped right at the 1-yard line.
Exactly. This is how you want to do it, right on the golf course, right? Just be able to stick it right on the green, and he did exactly that, right on the 1-yard line, and gave us great field position.
Here's that third down play we were talking about earlier, nearly a first down, and Nate Finke. Spot was a tad bit short, but they said it was, but it gave it a manageable 4th and inches situation.
Yeah, that was a long 20-yard completion there. Then here's the touchdown throw to Younger down the left sideline. Again, it was a pump by Ryan to get that corner to jump it, and then he made a nice throw. Again, we've got nice time to throw in the pocket as well, and Sean Younger with his first collegiate touchdown reception.
That was a 44-yard touchdown, and here is the fumble forced by Levi Reeve, number 2.
You can see Levi here coming in behind, and that's a lot of times how fumbles are caused, the guy that you don't see. And the nice thing was run to the football. They get a nice gain, but again, just like early in the season, they don't give up on the play, and our defense is right there to scoop it up.
Joe Stuka, the recovery, and the Mustangs take advantage. 2 plays later, Radican to Lester Lewis.
Yep, and again, we get a good play-action fake. Ryan has to slide in the pocket to avoid pressure, puts it up in an area where Lester can go up and jump and get it, and makes the big play.
Defense made some plays in this ball game, and here's swarming on defense to limit the quarterback, and Josh Hansen very shifty. And now we go for John Kirschbergen making a stop here. John has had a very good season, the junior. And then Paul Mickey, Mustangs get a sack. That's John Kirschbergen there with his tackle for no gain. Now we go to the second quarter, Vikings driving, and Paul Mickey with the big sack.
Yep, he comes right up the middle. You can see on the end zone shot here, he's right in the middle, gets right through that A-gap, continues all the way through, and wraps him up for a big sack.
And then we continue on, a big third down stop in the second quarter, and Paul Mickey and company right there to plug it up, and that got the Mustangs the ball back.
Yep, absolutely, and we just need more and more of that as we go out through the season.
Yeah, and there's a big hit by the Mustangs. It's Kevin Wagner, a tackle for loss. Just a great read by number 39.
Yep, he read it real well and was in position, got off his block, and made a big tackle for a loss. Escrillo
made his first career start, subbing for injured Mark Schulmeyer, and he fights off a block at his right-hand position, number 29, and makes a stop.
See him up the top. You see him get off the block and really keep contained on the play and keep everything inside him.
Mustangs now in the second half struggled running the football today, but here's a good run and a draw by Gannon Moore.
Yep, and it was definitely tough to get yardage against this defense. You know, they were always in great position, well coached, and it was nice to be able to get a few runs where we be able to get outside and make some yardage.
And you see some good blocks there as setting up Gannon Moore, who did lead the team in rushing yards in this particular game. And the defense again, as Joe Clark, one of the top running backs in the conference, spread out and making a stop.
Yeah, and the more we can get the offense to run to the sideline, the better off we're going to be.
There's another turnover the Mustangs force. Robbie Slinkman forces the turnover, and it's picked up by Joe Stuka, who takes it a long way back into Augustana territory.
Yep, and it was nice to see him get a big recovery here in his hometown area. We were just hoping that he'd make it all the way, but the nice thing is, you know, we're able to capitalize with the ball on the ground, and usually when the ball's on the ground, our defense is right there to get it.
Again, Stuka 2 fumble recoveries in the contest, and it gets capped off after this turnover by a touchdown by the Mustangs. Lester Lewis, 3-yard touchdown reception from Tyler Pashon, his first career touchdown pass.
First career touchdown pass, and puts it in a spot where Lester can get it and no one else. And Lester just is tough to defend one-on-one down here by the goal line. And it was nice to see Tyler get some action here and at least get some experience this year.
Well, just another great reception for Lester Lewis, kind of adding to his highlight reel here this season, and that is our highlights for this week's show. And again, a couple of touchdown receptions for Lester Lewis, and the Mustangs do fall 53-21. And obviously, it's tough to lose a big ball game like that and to fall to 2-2. But one thing you did get to do in the fourth quarter is play a lot of guys, and regardless, you can't practice that game speed in practice. You can try as much as you can, but good to see a lot of new offensive linemen get a chance to play, and same on the defensive side of the football as well.
Yeah, and that's really valuable time for them, and you can't replicate that in practice. You can't replicate that in a scrimmage. That they will benefit from that down the road, and now hopefully we don't have to do that week in and week out, because that means we're probably behind in the game, or unless we're in the other end of it way ahead. But for the most part, I was happy with our guys that came in. They were able to put a drive together and put some points on, and that was the nice part of seeing that group play well together. Well,
you get done with the game on Saturday. Now you meet on Sunday and go over film, and get back to practice Tuesday of each week. And what's the mindset of the guys after a game like that? I know you have to just forget about it. I'm sure maybe you want to keep it in the back of your mind because you don't want to have that feeling again. But what's the talk like on Sunday night and to focus ahead, because there's still lots to play for here in 2010?
Well, we had our team meeting on Sunday night and really addressed the team and really just asked them the question, why do you play college football? What makes you want to play college football? And a lot of the responses were, it's fun, we enjoy playing the game, and I kind of added the comment that one of the reasons why myself and a lot of people play college football is it's a challenge, and each and every day, each and every game is going to be a challenge from here on out, and we have to embrace that. We can't just say, okay, we lost 2 in a row, let's feel sorry for ourselves. That's not going to get it done. So I think our guys are ready. They want to play well. They will play well. And it's just a matter now of embracing that situation and running with it.
Yeah, the Mustangs now return home for a couple of games. A nice 2-game homestand, Wayne State this Saturday at the Regional Event Center for homecoming and Egg Bowl, and then Minnesota State Moorhead will come in a couple of weeks to wrap up the 2-game homestand. And before we talk about Wayne State, Coach, looking back again this past week's game, Mike Wenk, a true freshman punter and kicker for the Mustangs, named Conference Player of the Week on Monday, a well-deserved honor. He had a very good day punting the football and made his extra points, and he's had a nice season so far in 4 games. And anytime you get 4 kicks over 50 yards and 3 of them inside the 20, right. Very impressive day for Mike, and another player that close to his hometown down there by Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Right, he's just 10 minutes away, and I believe he had his high school team come to the game as well, so he had a lot of support. I saw his dad before the game. He has definitely been a great surprise for us this season, and Lance Schuweiler was injured a couple days before the game, and so Mike was able to kind of fill that role as far as kickoffs, field goals, punting, you name it, and to have a true freshman handle all those duties and do them all well really is something special. And so we're glad to have him. We're glad that he is enjoying his time here at Southwest, and he'll have a great career when it's all said and done.
Speaking of special teams, you were without Warren Matthews last week against Bemidji State, and he did have one kick return and came in late in the ball game against Augustana. Had a very nice return, and you just see plays like that and giving up some big plays on special teams. How important that aspect, and it's a great cliche that it's 1/3 of the game, but it doesn't get a lot of publicity, but so important. And teams have had some pretty good success on special teams, and talk about that part of it. How much effort goes into it each week? Because there's a lot of it before end of practice. Let the fans know it's not just always offense and defense that you practice on during a 2 or 3 hour practice.
Yep, and those are usually the plays that most people don't see on highlight films unless it's a kickoff return or punt return of some sort. But the fact that we've got to block the punts and be able to execute that whole end of it is critical. We start every practice with special teams just because we want to emphasize that right away, and so we want to be at our best point, our freshest part of practice, and so we do that right away. We will also do it probably midway through our practice as well. So we get plenty of special teams work, but just because it's a third of the game, and you just can't get enough of it. And we also meet every day with our players for about a half hour, just watching film and watching what our opponent's going to do and what we're trying to do against it. And so the hard part of it is just getting some of those backups that normally don't play all the time to really buy in, and they've got to find their role. And everyone can't be a starter on offense and defense, and if they're not, they've got to be able to contribute on special teams. And if they do, good things are going to happen. And so we've got to get better in that area. There's no question about that. And we've got to take that as a personal challenge from all positions. And I think we'll get our guys ready to go, and it'll be nice getting a few of those guys back to help us out, like Warren. And I think we'll be much better in the second half of the season.
I tell you, one thing you always talk about in athletics and playing sports is you got to adapt and overcome. And one thing that this team and this program has had to do is that, and with injuries and whatnot. You just talk about some of the injuries there. Certain guys have had to move out of kick return. You had your punter, in the preseason been hurt, and a kicker, and we've had offensive linemen switched around. Mark Schomeyer starting defensive end. I mean, we just haven't had that full 22 starting man lineup yet all season. And obviously a lot of college football teams don't have that situation, and they're going to have guys hurt too. But we've had a lot to deal with here in this first 4 games of the season.
Yeah, and you hate to have that so early in the season. It's going to be natural to have it week 7, week 8. But there's a few things we have to work through. Hopefully we can get a few guys back this week. We'll find out here in a couple days what the training report looks like. But every football team is going to have those injuries. You just hope that you don't have too many, and they're not at critical positions where you don't have as much depth. And if we can, over the years we've been pretty fortunate, offensively and defensively, as far as guys staying healthy. And if we can continue that trend, I think we'll be in pretty good shape. But it's just one of those parts that you can't control. We'll lose sleep over it because it's going to happen at some point. And the guys that are next in line have to be ready to go, and that's why it's so critical that they get the physical reps and mental reps during practice, so that when that time does come, they're not caught off guard and trying to figure out what's going on at that point in time, because at that point it's too late, and you've got to be ready to go right away.
Yeah, well, the Mustangs, as I mentioned earlier, return home to the Regional Event Center on Saturday, 6 o'clock kickoff against Wayne State College. And Wayne State, very good team. They've gone to the playoffs a couple of years ago. They've really become a top division team in this conference. They're 3-1, and it's going to be a challenge on Saturday. They've got some weapons, a new quarterback, Silas Llewellyn, no longer their starting quarterback, but they've got some outstanding players at that position and one of the best wide receivers in Frederick Bruno. It's going to be a test, but I'm sure something you guys are looking forward to on Saturday.
Yeah, and it's a tough stretch within our schedule. You talk about playing Bemidji and then Augustana and then Wayne. You're talking about three really good opponents, and so it goes back to what we talked about in the team meeting as far as you want to play in those big games. You want to have those challenges. You don't want it to be easy, because if you win and it's an easy opponent, yeah, you win, but the satisfaction of beating a really good opponent, there's nothing else like that. So our goal, our mission is to play our best football game this upcoming week against Wayne and play lights out, and hopefully we can get the victory. But they're talented. They're playing well. Their only loss is against Duluth, who is probably the best team in the conference, and so we're going to get their best shot here, and we've got to be able to bounce back and regroup, and hopefully our guys are hungry enough to go after it.
Yeah, Mustangs have struggled. They've lost 5 in a row to Wayne State. Last Mustang victory in the series came in 2004, and that was in Wayne, Nebraska. A thrilling game there. Mustangs have not won in Marshall against Wayne State since 2001. So hopefully a lot of those streaks will be snapped this Saturday at the Regional Events Center. It's a 6 o'clock kickoff at the REC. Again, it's Egg Bowl as well, so a full day of activities going on at the Regional Events Center and the parking lot as well. So again, the final score this past week, Mustangs lose to Augustana by a score of 53-21. SMSU now 2-2 overall and 1-2 in the conference, and Wayne State comes in with a record of 3-1 overall and 2-1 in the NSIC. And that's going to wrap up this week's Cory Sauter show here at Studio One and at smsumustangs.com. For the head coach, Cory Sauter, I'm Kelly Loft. Thanks for watching this week's show, and we'll see you next time. but you did have some bright spots on the third down. I'm going to pause. Sorry, Jess.
That bugged you.
I thought it would get too obvious. This is the first time in like 4 years we're going to stop. We're going to pick that up after you. We can do that, right, Jess?
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to pick up.
Splicer.
I thought it went boom, and I thought that. I think, didn't you, when you stopped, you had your question. Maybe when he gets
turnovers after turnover, rubbing off on you.
I'm sitting there trying to find something positive about the defense.
We
and
do
I'm like,
have this on film, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Still recording.
No.
This is good stuff. I want a copy of this.
This just flew right through my hand. Okay, let's see. Where can I suppose there's no way to. No, I can't. We'll just when he gets done. What'd you say? You were talking about your question. I can't remember where you left off at.
I gotta stop and think now.
What were we talking about?
You had just asked about the setting the turnovers, setting up. They set up a lot
Set
of
up.
I was talking about before that. You were talking about
some really
third
great
down
defensive
conversions.
moments.
yeah. And then
Said something about some. They were really good defensive plays.
and then that's when I lost it. And so I'm going to pick up where he ended. You were saying we were talking about passing the football 22 times.
Oh, 20 times in a row.
And
Threw it 20 times in a row. It's not ideal.
and I'll come back with okay. Well, that's what we're going to do. With that question, I'll come back. I'll just start like this so that you can fade it into this shot or something. Okay. Let's see what he talked about.
Let's start talking.
I'm going to kind of mention defense. And what do I want to say about that though? Okay.
There's not a whole lot.
I thought there was a few plays. I was like, well, we had a good.
You said something about there were some good.
Yeah, the coverage. I was thinking of coverage, and they just couldn't get pressure on the quarterback, and then they threw a couple of completions on third. And well, you know what? We're just gonna come back and we'll do highlights. So I'll come back. So we'll
do highlights.
We'll still come back here. I'll talk. 3, 2, 1. So, jeez, I'm trying to think of him come back. I wish I knew what he said, but boy. Okay, let's do it again. 3, 2, 1.